When I tell y'all November's reading was so mid, oh my goodness, it was just terrible. What's up? It is your girl Dags and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. Today it's time to do our book wrap up for the month of November, and let me tell you something, it was not a good time at all. I read 11 books. Of those 11, I DNF'd 4, and I only really and truly enjoyed one of them. So let's talk about it. So first we're going to start with the books that I DNF'd. First up is The Hunger. This was a book that I read, well, this is a book that I attempted to read for the Goodreads Picks My TBR book that I did back in October, and I didn't get to it in time, so I was going to finish it up in November, but it's just not for me. It is about the Donner Party, for those of you who don't know, and it has a twist on it. It has a supernatural twist on it, and I just didn't care at all. That's not to say it was a bad book. It's not to say that it was poorly written, because it wasn't. I just didn't care. And I think the reason why I didn't care was because it was a book that was picked for a video. Yes, I vetted it out of a list of books and I was interested in it and I was all for it, but I'm a mood reader, so I didn't want to read it. I didn't want to read it, but I was making myself read it. And then I just looked up one day and I'm like, why am I making myself read this? So I stopped. Up next I have Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. I don't like the way this is structured. So this is about I guess a river, if you will. Women keep dying in this river, drowning in this river, whatnot. You have a mom that drowns in the river and the daughter survives, and then on the other side you have a daughter that kills herself in the river and the mother survives, and you're going back and forth between those two point of views. And then there's another lady that died in the river as well, who was doing like a report or writing a book or something about what's going on in this town, in this river. She ends up dead. There's random point of views from people, from what I've seen, only have like one chapter here, one chapter there, and there's just too many characters for me to keep up with. None of them have any kind of substance that I care about, and I don't know, I was bored. I just didn't care, and it makes me sad because I really enjoyed A Fire Slowly Burning, even though most people didn't, but I really did enjoy that one. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and read the other Paula Hawkins that I have. I also have The Girl on the Train. Now I'm a little reluctant to read it. I will read it because I own it, but it's gonna be a while. My next DNF is The Perfect Mother by Amy Malloy. This is about a mom group that get together and they decide that they're tired of sitting around and eating lunch in the park and talking about babies. They want to have a night out on the town. And then there's a mother in the group who is very reluctant to leave her baby, because I believe she's the only one in the group that's a single mom. But one of the other moms is like, oh, it's cool, I have a cool babysitter, you can leave her or him, I don't remember if the baby's a boy or a girl, but you can leave them with my sitter. And wouldn't you know it, the baby's missing, and it takes off from there. All of these women in the group are written the same, so I get them all mixed up. They're all bland little housewives. Well, they're not. What's that show? The Desperate Housewives. There we go. It's very Desperate Housewives-y. These women are very catty. There's a scene in here when they first get to the bar where the moms are picking on the single mom because she's got remote access to the baby monitor to where she can look it up, or she can watch the baby monitor on her phone, and she's checking on the baby because she's worried. I'm not a mother, but I feel like if I had a baby and I've never left them behind before and they're with a person that I really don't know, yeah, we're gonna be checking that baby monitor. That's just what you would do, I would think. So one of the moms takes her phone and deletes the app off of her phone. Well, now the baby's missing and we don't have baby monitor video. That really, I don't know, that just really made me mad, even though it's just a book. But the point is, I don't like these women, and I just couldn't sit through any more of it. I don't remember how far I got into it. I think it was like 120, 130, something like that. But I couldn't do it anymore. My last DNF was Tampa by Alyssa Nutting, and I can't blame the book for this DNF. This is my fault. This book is about a predator, a female predator of children, if you will, and she takes it upon herself to get a teaching gig so she can get access to these children easier. You picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. I thought I was getting My Dark Vanessa, which is essentially, not essentially the same thing, but it's basically about a girl who's had a relationship with her teacher, and as she's getting older and as she grows up, she's realizing that something ain't right. Like, she's finally coming to the conclusion that she was groomed, that it wasn't love, this, that, and the third, right? This is nasty. This made me so uncomfortable. Let's put it this way. I only got 8 pages in. Okay, and the amount of time that they talk about her, the amount of times that they talk about her touching her lady no bits in just 8 pages in is absurd. Like, girl, it's gonna fall off. Stop. I feel like it's written more for shock value than actual dialogue and discussion, and again, you know, there's an audience for it somewhere. It's not me, like, it's over the top. And, you know, sexual content is to be expected in a story like this, but girl, page 8, I don't think I've DNF'd a book so fast in my life. I want to say I'm going to go back and try again another day, another time, and that may be true, but this was just too much for me. And I think what makes it so bad is the way that it's written is meant to make it feel like, oh, she's so hot and sexy and cool, and it's there's nothing wrong with what she's doing. Yeah, there is. Maybe something changes down the line and I just didn't give it enough time. Moving on to The Mother-in-Law by Sally Hepworth. This was me. I guess the ending. Well, you know what? The only reason why I guess the ending is because whenever I come across a word in a book that I don't know, I look it up. And I feel like if I wouldn't have looked up said word in book, I wouldn't have been able to guess said ending. But this is about a couple. The husband's mother dies. Now, the husband's wife and the mother have never gotten along. They couldn't really stand each other. So people are looking at her, even though, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't really care for this book, even though the cause of death was ruled self-inflicted, if you will. Okay, she did it to herself. That's why she's no longer with us. However, the police are investigating it as a homicide. So the way that it's written is very surface value. There's not a whole lot of detail about why the police immediately think it's suicide, or excuse me, why the police immediately think it's a homicide, why the police suspect Diana, I think is her name. No, Diana's dead. Lucy. Why is Lucy the suspect? For this story to be what it is, I feel like there needed to be more detail about how these people are getting to these different conclusions about what's going on. I feel like if I didn't read a lot of thrillers, this would be a good entry point. It's not a bad book. It's just, I saw it coming. So if you're new to the thriller genre, or if you want something light and easy, go for it. It just wasn't for me. While we're on that topic, let's go ahead and get two more out of the way. The Other Me by Sarah Zachrich Jang. Yeah. This is about a woman, and she is at a art exhibit. I think it's her friend's opening or just a viewing or whatnot, but it's also her birthday. And turn up, she's having a great time. She decides she needs to go to the bathroom because she's starting to feel a little dizzy, feel a little sick, right? So she goes to the bathroom, and as she's opening the door, she hears people yelling, "Surprise!" She thinks that the friend has subsequently incorporated her birthday with her art exhibit and is throwing a surprise party, until she realizes that she's no longer in the art museum. She's at a restaurant with a man that claims to be her husband, and her nieces or nephews, I can't remember, extended family basically, and her parents as well. And she's like, what's going on? This is another entry level book. It wasn't bad. It's just not what I thought it would be. With a story like this, I feel like this could only have one of two endings. I guess the ending of this one as well. But it was an okay ride. Next up is 6 Weeks to Live by Catherine Mckenzie. This is about a woman who is diagnosed with cancer, and she has 6 weeks to live. However, she finds it very odd that she just has cancer out of the blue, and something's not sitting well with her, so she decides to look into it further. Who done it? Did someone do it? Is she tripping? You have to read to find out. Again, I think this is another beginner's novel. I pseudo guessed the ending on this one. I was close enough to be like, meh, you know? It's not a bad story, not a bad ending. This is another one I feel like could use a little bit more detail, but overall it wasn't terrible. Next up, I read Good Me, Bad Me by Alyye. This is about a girl whose mother was a serial killer, and she gets put into foster care, gets adopted by a new family, and she is the star witness of the trial against her mother. So she's going to have to testify against her mom, and this is basically a book about her struggling with the emotions of, one, being the daughter of a serial killer, two, being a foster kid and moving in that space and getting to deal with the traumas of that, and getting used to, you know, going to a new school and dealing with new parents, and she has foster siblings as well. And yeah, I actually fairly enjoyed this one. Again, I saw the ending. I don't know what's going on in the month of November. Usually I don't guess the endings of books, but I don't know. But this one I definitely saw coming a mile away. But that does not make this a bad book. I actually really enjoyed reading this book, and I do recommend it to the masses. Alright, let's talk about some weird stuff, shall we? I read Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. This was weird, okay? I saw 100,000 people talking about this book, And whenever they tell the synopsis, all they ever say is this is about two women who meet in a chat room. This is back in the day, you know, when you was IMing people on AOL. One of the girls are trying to sell a apple peeler, and the other one wants to buy it. And from there, conversations happen and things get weird. And I'm like, okay, that's a strange synopsis, but you know what? That's really all you can say about this, because when I got finished with this, it's an itty bitty thing. When I got finished with this, the only thing I could think was, what did I just read? What the hell did I just read? It's so weird. I do like the way it's written in the form of instant messages. So that's pretty cool. And there's also emails as well. I don't hate this book. I don't love this book. It just left me confused. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Do I recommend it? I say if you like different, if you like what the heck was that endings, then yeah, give it a shot. And last but not least, I want to talk about the two books that prompted my response in my intimidating TBR tag video. There was a question about what book am I not in the mood to read or not ready to read, and I said I wasn't ready to read When the Reckoning Comes because I couldn't deal with the black trauma that's probably associated with the book, because you just got to be in a mindset for that. With that being said, the reason that prompted me not to be able to read that book were these two right here. This one's upside down. Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby and Reprieve by James Hahn Matson. I also made the comment that I'm finicky about books that deal with race relations, social commentary stuff, because it's either done very well or it's done very poorly. Now, this was done extremely well. This is also not only about race relations, but this also touches on homophobia and just grief and, you know, just the way you treat people every day. This is about a couple, a gay couple, two men, one black, one white, and they are murdered. So the fathers of the boys, or of the men, excuse me, come together because the cops are just not even really trying to solve this case for whatever reason. And you're seeing these two men not only have to deal with the fact that their sons were gay, and there's nothing that they could do about that. They have to deal with the fact that they didn't treat them in the best of ways, not because that they were bad people, but because they were gay. And they have to deal with the racial issues that come with being black and gay. You deal with being gay in the South. You deal, I mean, it's a lot, and this is done very well. I laughed, I cried, I thunk. I was like, oh snaps. Like, this is a roller coaster. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I thoroughly enjoyed what it had to say, and I recommend this to everybody on the planet. Everybody. I can't say enough good things about this book. This was phenomenal. This is my favorite read of the month, which isn't saying much because everything was just either meh or it was trash. However, this is a 5-star book. I think I gave it 4 stars. I might have given it 5 stars. I don't know, but I adore this book, and it definitely makes you think. It definitely makes you feel some stuff. I don't know, just watching these fathers grow really made me feel good. You know, Ike is the white father, real hillbilly, country, redneck, stereotypical Southern man, and Buddy is the black father. They're both ex-convicts, and Buddy's trying to do right, but he's still about that life. If he need to go there, he'll go there. So I don't know, I'm gonna start rambling, but you should definitely check this book out. On the flip side of that, Reprieve, I don't know what Reprieve tried to do. Reprieve was 2 books that should have been separate, because when I picked this up, I did not think that there was any social commentary in this whatsoever, because this is a book about a haunted house attraction. If you are familiar with, I think it's called McKay Manor, that over the top people yelling mercy, let me out, the actors are allowed to touch you, like, I can't think of his name, I'll put it right here, but it's basically a haunted house attraction that people go to, where you have to sign like this waiver that's this thick, saying that we're basically, if you die, we're not responsible, basically. I'm pretty sure that's in there, you know, if you have a heart attack, if you have health problems, don't come here, whatever. This is supposed to be modeled after that. There's a group of people who are going through this haunted house, but it also has a challenge attached to it. And if you make it to the end of the house without tapping out, you get, I forget how much money it is, but it's a large sum. One group's been able to do it, but that's it. However, in this group, someone ends up dying while they're doing the house. Go back and forth from the perspectives of all the different people that are on the team, as well as the court proceedings that are happening, because, you know, someone died, someone needs to be held responsible for it. And in the mix of all of that, somehow we get a social commentary on being black in rural Nebraska, being a foreign exchange student, pretending to be white, I guess microaggressions. I'm not really sure what that had to do with the haunted house, but it's in here. I don't understand why it's in here. It's not a bad, no, it is. I don't like the way it's done, because it's thrown in here. It's not explained at all, or all of the people that are in the challenge he's trying to give a backstory to, which I get, but all of their backstories are some kind of social commentary that have absolutely nothing to do with the main point of the story, so it just seems like it's there. Again, if these were 2 separate books, he might have did something. A haunted house book, a social commentary book. But when you try to squish those things together, it just doesn't work. So I didn't hate it. I think I gave it 3 stars. I was intrigued enough to finish it, so that was the thing. The reasoning behind the death and the whodunit and the happenings or whatnot were decent, but I just wish that the social commentaries weren't thrown in there, because it just felt very misplaced. Alright, so that is all of the books that I read in November. I hope your reading went a lot better than mine did. Let me know down below what you read in November, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.